Our problems were that we needed more money, or we needed to spend less, one or the other. At 200 restaurants, the word was given to stop making shows. We're not going to open any more restaurants. 200, that's it. We're not opening any more.
And from that point, there was a wedge drawn. Financial organization gets redone, corporate laws trying to find out where they're losing money, and one of the big expenses was creative engineering.
All of a sudden, I had to get rid of hundreds of employees. Showbiz Pizza Place got rid of lots of employees. They were trying to cut costs everywhere.
And at that point, the Rockefeller still existed, but they didn't have a place to go, and they began licensing them out to other restaurants because they had leftover inventory. Because at one point, apparently, they just told Creative Engineering, we're not making any more shows.
They decided to take a look at another idea. And the idea was to merge with or buy out Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese was a separate company at that point. There was Chuck E. Cheese and there was Showbiz Pizza Place. And as badly as Showbiz Pizza Place was doing, Chuck E. Cheese was doing worse. Now, I can veto whatever I want, and I wanted to veto that. I wanted to find another way. So, Brock Hotel said, look, this is the only way. Nothing else is going to save us. So, you cannot veto this. That didn't mean necessarily the end of the Rockefeller explosion. They were still willing to keep the Rockefeller explosion in Showbiz Pizza Place. But the only way they were willing to keep the Rockefeller explosion was if I gave them the copyrights. And they could then have complete and total control and power over the characters. That meant they get to decide what the voices are, what the scripts are, what the music is. They get to program them themselves, everything they wanted to do. And I would have absolutely nothing to do about it and no say about it. But you got to realize, back then, I still felt like the Rockefeller explosion had a big future. Movies, cartoons. I wanted to go someplace else with the Rockefeller explosion besides pizza restaurants. I wasn't ready just to give it up. And besides, they didn't offer me a plug nickel for the copyrights. When I spoke to Gene Cram about this, who proposed to me that I give them the copyrights to the Rockefeller explosion, the trademarks, the copyrights, all ownership of the copyrights, he said, Aaron, what you get out of this is that your characters, Billy Bob, will live. They'll live on. But let me tell you something, if you don't accept this deal and if you don't give us your copyrights, your characters are going to die. We're going to get rid of them and we're going to replace them with Chuck E. Cheese. I said, okay, I'll take that challenge. I'll take that challenge. I will do something with those characters. And I will do it without you then. But I will not just give you those characters. My life, my blood, my voice, my heart, and believe me, all of the closest people in my lives, and that included all those men in the studio and women in the studio who helped me. Our lives depend on this. And I'm going to keep those characters and we're going to do something with them.
So they went through what's called concept unification. And what it basically became was they took the Rockefeller robots, left the animation, the animatronics, everything that was on the inside pretty much stayed intact. They just kind of rearranged the characters, slapped different cosmetics on them, and tried to pass it off as a completely different show.
And that was the beginning of the end in terms of the Rockefeller being in Showbiz Pizza. And I think for a time they did actually still have the Rockefeller in the stores, but after about 1990 they converted the concept over to Chuck E. Cheese, and that was that.